I'm Jason Rzucidlo, reporting inside the MotorCity Casino's Soundboard Theater. Stay tuned for the presentation of Crain's top newsmakers of 2016.
The first individual I'd like to call up to the stage is Andy Appleby, Chairman and CEO of General Sports and founder of the United Shore Professional Baseball League.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
So what we're going to do here is I'm going to ask everybody who comes up one quick question, and they're going to give me one quick answer. You ready? You spent $15 million to launch the United Shore Professional Baseball League in Utica. In dollar figures, what is the economic impact so far of the league?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you asked that question. The ballpark has created tremendous economic impact, not just in Utica, but really all of the surrounding areas. We really feel that we can help to make even all of Macomb County more valuable with their properties. We think we're the crown jewel, and we really feel that we can positively influence it every game and by every family.
Well, thank you very much for starting out there.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring up Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha, Director of the MSU-Hurley Children's Hospital Pediatric Public Health Initiative. Dr. Mona blew the whistle on the lead poisoning of the children and adults in Flint in one of the nation's biggest preventable environmental disasters. And Dr. Mona is one of my heroes.
Oh, I think you're on.
It's remarkable what you did for us. So as you know, a Flint mother, a researcher in Virginia, and yourself help expose the poisoning of Flint's water. Meanwhile, every level, local, state, federal, every level of government let the people of Flint down.
Right.
What does this say about how government's role in public health must evolve in the 21st century?
Thanks, Ron. You're right. Every level of government.
Of course I'm right. I'm okay.
You're right again. Every level of government failed the people of Flint, and I think we've learned some important lessons about how we need to evolve. It shouldn't have taken independent researchers and residents to expose this crisis. There was people whose job in government that this was their charge. What we've learned, I think, is the most important thing is that government's role in public health needs to be strong, it needs to be smart, it needs to be adequately funded, and public health needs to be part of all policies, be it a water decision or a new field that's going to be built or an arena or a train. The role of public health needs to be active. We need to have health in all policies, and especially the voice of children needs to be part of all of these decision-making moves. And I think we're at a very anxious time where we could see the role of public health be diminished with weakened regulations, with underfunding, defunding of public health agencies like the EPA, and the loss of health care for about 20 million people. So we're frightened about the possibility of more Flints, whereas exactly the opposite direction that we need to be going in the 21st century to strengthen public health and especially government's role in public health.
It's very likely we have a lot more Flints coming if we're not careful.
Absolutely.
And as a sign of her iconic status, if I have this right, Congressman Kildee has invited you to attend the State of the Union address tonight. Absolutely.
I'll be jetting out of here for a 3 o'clock flight to go to D.C. to attend the State of the Union, and I'm honored and humbled to be Congressman Kildee's guest to represent Flint and to represent the work that we have just begun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron.
Barbara McQuade, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. Barbara has spent the last 6 years building up an impressive resume, which includes bringing charges against officials in Macomb County and the Detroit Public Schools, among others. Another heroic person in our region. I appreciate you coming here, Barbara. You doing well?
Great, thank you.
So your office has prosecuted elected officials, police officers, school principals, and corporate executives for corrupt behavior. Why do you think corruption is rampant in our region and kind of in our times?
So I don't know that corruption is any more rampant in our region than it is elsewhere, but we have seen it in corporations, in healthcare, in government, and I think it's because greed is a very powerful human emotion, and I think it is always present unless we check it. And I have seen that a common thread in all of these is so often corruption starts at the top, Corruption is contagious, and if you have a culture of corruption, it will trickle all the way down throughout the organization. But if you have a culture of integrity, that will also trickle down throughout the organization. I was talking with Keith Crain earlier about our roles as watchdogs. The media and prosecutors have an important role as watchdogs, but I would also challenge all the leaders in the room in business and government that you're also watchdogs, and that you can create a culture of integrity, and you do in your organizations, and we're counting on you to be effective watchdogs.
Thank you for your service. Joe Mulaney, former CEO of the Detroit Medical Center. Though the beginning of 2017 saw his departure from the DMC, Joe had a busy year in 2016. It included the opening of the DMC Children's Hospital of Michigan in Troy and tense negotiations with Wayne State University School of Medicine to extend the clinical services and administrative relationship. Welcome. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Ron.
So, is a for-profit hospital system with all of the bottom line pressures and challenges the best choice to run a teaching hospital?
Oh, Ron, I can tell you it's easier to answer your questions now that I have the word former in front of my job title. I've always gotten Crain's questions, which I can never answer, a lot of no comments. It doesn't go together like peanut butter and jelly, but it can work, and I think it worked here at DMC and the parent for-profit company simply because on the DMC side, we were able to, with our partner Wayne State, really try to have some excellence in research and education, which then could be exported out to the rest of the hospitals throughout the country. So I think the for-profit can benefit when the academic partner is strong and is willing to work.
Can the academic partner benefit from a for-profit?
Well, I think Dr. Wilson will be speaking later, so I'll let him answer that question.
What's your opinion?
It's a tough model, but the benefit for DMC ultimately being part of a for-profit is we were able to invest $1 billion of new buildings, new equipment, new structure that would not have happened without that. So there is a benefit. I came to Detroit to be part of an academic medical center, and I think that mission needs to be on everyone's mind locally to continue that, because that's what drives Detroit. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Mina Sooch, President and CEO of Gemphire Therapeutics, Inc. I love the walk-on music. It was a roller coaster year for Mina. After experiencing several delays with the IPO for Gemphire, the IPO raised enough money to fund 3 trials of the company's cardiovascular drug and get through the first half of 2018. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So you told a great publication recently, Crain's Detroit Business, that 2016 was, quote, a year of highs, but also one of uncertainty for quite some time. I learned patience, end quote. What challenges lie ahead for your company and for the industry in the next year that will require that gift of patience?
Great, thank you. So I'm in the biotech world, so we get up every morning and try to come up with new medicines to help all of us live longer and live better. I'm currently working in the cholesterol space to come up with the next Lipitor. And so our challenges are that, of course, we have technical or scientific challenges that will always be there. We benefited in our company to have a drug from Pfizer, and they spent a lot of time on it, so that helps. But really, it's also about financing. So a good entrepreneur, which I've been for a long time, we're always out seeking capital. So if I had to pick the one thing that will always be part of a biotech company and an entrepreneurial journey is raising money and being patient to find those right times in the market when you can access it, and also deliver on what you said, so then you can go ask for more money again. So the challenge that'll always be here, always asking for more money to build the company.
Here's your chance right now.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you for coming. Congratulations. Kirk Saylor, Director of the Michigan Department of Transportation. Kirk is the godfather of the state's mobility efforts, which reached the new heights in 2016. He shepherded a plan aimed to make Michigan a leading state in efforts to connect vehicles and infrastructure. He's also on standby on the flight that Dr. Mona has to hit, and I think he's rooting for Dr. Mona not to get there in time, which I think is pretty lousy. He's also going to Washington for a big meeting, correct?
Yes.
Not for the State of the Union?
Not for the State of the Union.
So what I want to ask you is, what is the single biggest challenge to Michigan becoming the center of transportation innovation in the 21st century like it was at the beginning of the 20th?
You know, I think the big thing is we have to remember that we are the center of innovation, and we have to keep it. And that's going to take all of us in the room, public side, private side, academic side, working together under one umbrella, realizing that we can retain this, but we have to work together.
What are the prospects of that happening? I'm not used to people working together.
Yeah, actually, I have this little pin called Planet M, and that's the umbrella of everybody together, public agencies, universities.
Is it happening?
It is happening, and I think, thankfully, to the business community for really kind of coming together and recognizing they need to do this here and not in Silicon Valley, and not in Pittsburgh, not in Texas. They need to do it in Detroit, they need to do it in Michigan.
Congratulations. Thank you for coming. Take care. Sam Valenti, Chairman and CEO of Valenti Capital LLC and co-founder of V5 Partners. Sam's biggest headline from 2016 came in October when V5 Partners LLC, a new venture capital firm founded by him and his son, Sam Valenti IV, had raised $150 million in capital and arranged $50 million worth of credit with a New York bank to fund investments. Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome back to Detroit.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back.
Fantastic.
It is.
Keith and I have been talking. You're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay, good.
Do you have that in writing?
I have it in writing.
I need it in writing.
I do. It's on my napkin.
You've been a change agent your entire career. Later this year, Crain will be honoring leaders who navigate change the best. We call them change makers. What is the single most important attribute a leader must have in any walk of life to navigate these harsh shoals of change?
I think it's a sense of commitment. I mean, it's an amazing city. To work with my son is a blessing, but it's saying nothing about this fine organization we are here today. They know a little bit about something working with their children. In 1920, nearly 100 years ago, my father came to this city through Ellis Island as a young man. And although he passed away young, he always would tell me that this was a shining city on a hill and that you had to do everything you possibly could to make it better. And here we are, thanks to the people that are awarded today, the people in this audience, and people with that beyond earshot of this podium outside, who through a lot of hard work and a lot of burnishing have brought the gleam back to Detroit. And once again, for the next generation, it is a shining city on a hill once again. Amen. And I thank you, Crains, for being part of that, and I thank all of you for being here today. I love this town, and it's more of a tribute to adult onset ADD than accomplishment, but it's very natural for me to want to be involved. So thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure meeting you. And last but certainly not least, President Roy Wilson of Wayne State University. Direction of President Wilson, Wayne State has made news on many fronts in the last year, from increasing enrollment in research dollars and raising a record amount of donations and breaking ground on the new Mike Ilitch School of Business. Welcome, Mr. President.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the President for coming despite the fact that he's fighting a bad cold or flu. Got himself out of bed to help us out. I appreciate you coming, sir. And congratulations. What I want to ask you is, can Wayne State University succeed without Detroit's full and complete comeback? And can Detroit succeed without Wayne State thriving?
Oh, great question. First of all, I'm up here because of Wayne State has been in the news a lot over the past year, and so it's not about me, it's about Wayne State, and we've got some really great people from our board of governors to staff and faculty, and many of them are here, so let me just first say that. Wayne State will celebrate its 150th anniversary next year. So we've been around a long time, and during that time, it's been a very symbiotic relationship with Detroit. So can Wayne State succeed without Detroit full recovery? Well, let's just say that we wouldn't be able to reach our full potential without full recovery of Detroit. And just from basic services like the lights being on to buses running on time, it's things that cities usually provide. We depend on that. But more than that, is the educational opportunities that come from businesses coming back into the city. Certainly for a very long period of time, the visionaries have been Dan Gilbert and the Ilitch family for believing in Detroit. But now we have so many companies that's coming in and opportunities for our students to be able to have internships and these learning opportunities that really make it a very dynamic learning experience. And then on the flip side, in terms of Detroit and Wayne State's role, certainly we've been able to, leverage our assets to help in the recovery of Detroit, whether those assets are the educational assets. Certainly, every great city needs a great university, and one of the metrics of a healthy city is the educational level of its citizenry, and we're in the education business. But more than that, we've been able to contribute on an annual basis $2.5 billion in economic impact in the state of Michigan, most of that in Detroit and in the southeastern Detroit area. And so many other ways that both Wayne State and Detroit are inextricably bound. Let me just say that both Wayne State and Detroit are not where we need to be or want to be, but I think that we're getting there, and we will get there, and we'll get there hand in hand as we've always done, and I look forward to that time.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. So congratulations again, all of the newsmakers.